So a question that I had, Allison, was, you've been working on this project now for quite some time, and it's come a really long way. What would a average time commitment be for a business your size, sort of picking up the process of evaluating an MSP for the first time using this tool? What would a realistic timeline be? Not necessarily once you've gone with an MSP, but just the process of trying to vet and shop for someone who could reasonably answer these questions well. Is this a 3-day project, a 3-month project? What do you think?
I think it depends on a couple things. One is how quickly do you need somebody? If this is something where you have an IT company now, so for my example, WinTech, we had an IT company for years. And as CMMC came to be, I went to them and said, hey, are you guys going to be looking at this? And they said, oh, no, we're not interested. We are going to be commercial only. Thanks, but no thanks. So I said, all right, well, we're going to start shopping. We're going to start looking. And, we want to work with you guys to make sure things are migrated properly. And they were cool with that. So I'm very grateful that all that went smooth. So if you're not in a rush and you can do this right, I'd say 3 to 6 months is probably safe. But it also depends too, how many resources at the small business are you committing to this? Is it just the owner? Because if there's other fires being put out, now you're looking at a much longer time. Conversely, if you're hot to trot and you got to get something done, you need to talk to somebody in a week. There are plenty of MSPs that would be happy to work with you for a price.
And then we have one right here in the front.
Hey, Allison.
Hi.
So this is great for finding a new MSP, but what about reevaluating your relationship with your current MSP? Because, management changes or their priorities change.
It's a very good question. Yes. So there are a couple of questions in here too that I think are vital almost for a like an assessment of your MSP. You're right, because there is a question down here about where is it? At some point, there's a question on, it might be number 28 is, have you changed ownership or management in the last 12 months? There's a sub question to that basically says, if you're considering selling, will you talk to me? And of course, the answer is going to be, heck no, I'm under an NDA for potential M&A. But at the same time, you want to make sure that your current MSP knows that you can't just go selling out to some foreign-owned company if you're relying on them to do things. And I mean, they can. You're not the boss of them. So if they do that, you want some assurances that you have plenty of time to migrate from them. When we left our commercial IT company, IT MSP, within 3 months, they sold to Staples. So I was like, whew, all right, dodged a bullet there.
Are you more of an Office Depot? So the question I had as you were talking about that was, as you made the transition from your existing IT provider to your new IT provider, and these questions came about, looking back on that journey as a business owner, first of all, how long do you think it took to get up and running with your current posture? And how much time do you think this may have saved you if you had it when you started that transition?
It's a good question. So we had a lot that had to be tackled. We were treading water. I think as a small business owner, I think a lot of y'all can vouch that in the back of my head, I really didn't care whether or not a company, an MSP, was familiar with FAR Rule Section 889. What I cared about was when Rose in quality, when her computer didn't work and our PDFs wouldn't open, Adobe wouldn't open, and she needed to finish this first article inspection in order for me to authorize $250,000 worth of parts to ship. Like in my head, that's what I care about. I don't care about, do you carry cyber insurance? Just, are my people working? And I think that when I look back at where we were and where we had to be, we got a lot done in a short amount of time because the MSP, my new MSP that I was using, helped me to prioritize. And so when you get a competent MSP, they're going to sit down with you and they're going to ask, all right, you're wanting us to do, day-to-day tech support and all this, but let's look at your network. Oh, you got a pretty flat network. We're going to want to do some different things here. We're going to rebuild this and all that. But if by taking baby steps, I think that was really key for me as a small business owner to know that I wasn't going to have to bite off this massive thing that I wasn't ready to do.
So on that note, this is evaluating the MSP's personal organizational maturity, right? We've noticed we when the same people that put out fires and get the printer working to make payroll are also trying to do like big sweeping architectural changes or put a new vendor product in. There's the battle for prioritization almost always puts CMMC in the back seat. Would you want an MSP to have a dedicated project team just working on big CMMC stuff? Is that something that you would require for someone to have versus, you know, just a gang tackle of help desk who sometimes do projects?
It's a good question. One of my priorities when I selected our team was to find at least that the person who's going to be in charge knew enough to delegate properly. So our VCISO of sorts, to be able to say, okay, I'm neck deep in the CMMC. I understand this. You know, my buddy over here, John Smith, who works for me as a tech admin, while he's not in the weeds, you know, he's going to be our tech support guy. And he knows that if, you know, certain thresholds of help, just go and get it done, knock it out. But if, you know, if certain things hit a certain threshold, then has to be almost like a, you know, level 2, level 3 guy. In a way, you're looking at a level 2, level 3 when it comes to regulations or CMMC related problems that have to be resolved.